Well, we started counting down the John's Journal top 10 stories of the year last week. He gave us a peek at number 10 just after it was published. We're going to get a little bit more into his list here today. We're talking here the week of July 8th, 2024. We're going to talk about our friend Randy Shaver. We're going to talk more about Hall of Famers. And, of course, we'll give you John's most valuable teammate of the week. Again, this is Preps Today with John Millea. John, of course, writes for the MSHSL. You can find John's Journal at MSHSL.org. Hey, I said MSHSL without screwing it up. That's a new personal record for me.
Bingo.
And you can hear John's spoken word artistry here at TalkNorth.com. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios. We want to thank Pizza Barn in Princeton and Bay to Bay Boat Club. And thank you for listening. If you like this show or any show at TalkNorth.com, we have great sports, great outdoor content. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen, and we do appreciate it. All right, let's get to John counting down the top 10 John's Journal stories of the year.
Yeah, from the 2023-24 school year, Jim. On last week's show, I talked about number 10, which had been posted at that time. Zach Goring, well-known boys basketball coach who led Apple Valley to 3 state titles with players like Tyus Jones, Trey Jones, Gary Trent Jr., all NBAers. He stepped down a few years ago, because he had young kids, wanted to watch their games. They go to Farmington High School. And in the meantime, Zach has become a very busy basketball official. Jim, you've written about Zach. He's a wonderful guy. His young son, who I think has 3 years of high school left, the two of them officiate youth basketball together. It's just a great story of a great person who stayed in the game. And like you said, you can go to MSHSL.org and read about Zach and all these other top 10 stories that I've picked out from the last year.
Yeah, as I said last week, that's one of the top 10 stories I've ever stolen from you.
There you go. I did a good job, too.
Yes.
The number 9 story, also a basketball coach, Wendy Kohler from Alexandria. I was up there in February when she coached in her 1,000th career game in her 39th season. Wendy has coached and won more basketball games than any female coach in Minnesota history, but her impact on the game and her players since the early 1980s has been really profound. It goes way beyond the numbers. And that game that was her 1,000th, it was a big celebration. They played a team from North Dakota, but all these former players, these moms with kids and families were there. It was really fun. So that's the number 9 story. The number 8 story is actually 3 football coaches from Hutchinson and Becker. Grady and Andy Rosberg from Hutchinson, Dwight Lundeen from Becker. We've talked about these guys before. The story is about how those 3 felt when their home stadiums were named after them. In Becker, Dwight Lundeen, the stadium was named Dwight Lundeen Stadium, Dwight Lundeen Field. I'm not sure. The year before, the stadium in Hutchinson was named Rosberg Stadium. And, the numbers are pretty amazing. Grady was the head coach when Andy played. Then Andy took over. They combined for like 50 some years of head coaching at Hutchinson. And, it's more than that. I just saw the numbers. Grady was the head coach for 29 years. Andy is going into year 26 this fall. And Dwight Lundeen, he's been the head coach at Becker since he started the program 54 years ago in 1970. And the impact those men have had, not just on their football teams, not just on their schools, but on their communities and the entire state and on other coaches, it can't be measured. So that's the number 8 story. The number 7 story, also about football coaches, Dan and Casey O'Brien. The story was posted September 25th. Dan O'Brien was the very successful head football coach at St. Thomas Academy. It was news when he left to become head football coach at Holy Family Catholic. His new coaching staff included a couple of Hall of Famers, Dave Nelson and Jeff Ferguson, who had combined, I think, for 10 state titles. They were both retired, but they came back to coach with Dan. But the assistant coach that drew my attention was Casey, Dan's son. Sports fans in Minnesota, are pretty familiar with Casey. He was a kick holder at Cretin-Durham Hall and with the Gophers, and fans know him mostly because of his courage and his resiliency. He's a 6-time cancer survivor. I've gotten to know Casey over the years. I've known Dan for a long time, and they're both just wonderful, wonderful guys and super inspirational people. Moving on to the number 6. This is not a sports story. This is a story about concert bands. I skipped the first day of the boys state hockey tournament. I've never done that before, to attend an event I'd never witnessed. It was thanks to an invitation from Peter Jepson. He's the band director at Glencoe Silver Lake. He invited me to attend the Section 2A, Subsection 8 large group band contest in Jordan, where bands from 9 schools performed in front of judges. It was just a lot of fun, really unique. You know, my wife and I, we have 3 kids. They were all in band. They went to these contests. We didn't know what that was. We never attended. There weren't a lot of people there. Basically bands watching bands, but really fun. That's another story you can enjoy. And on the next podcast, we'll go down from number 5 all the way to number 1. And I'm really excited about those stories.
Oh, that's great stuff. Next topic up, we're going to talk about our friend Randy Shaver. just a great person who had a great career. I got to know him when he was a sports director. He ended up being an anchor, did very well at that job. I played in his charity golf tournament early this year. The main charity is letting me play golf on a nice course. But Randy's done great. And talking about a cancer survivor, somebody who does great work. We're going to talk all about Randy. First, though, let's thank our longtime sponsor and our friend Jody Stay, Pizza Barn in Princeton.
You got it, Jim. Summer's a great time to stop in at the Pizza Barn in downtown Princeton. Jody and her crew, they will take care of you. You'll have a great meal if you dine in a really neat, comfortable setting. The menu at the Pizza Barn has longtime favorites, and they're always adding different new items. There's a pizza of the month. Those are outstanding. They're always offering delicious new items, and everything on the menu is available for dine-in, take-out, take and bake. They deliver, they cater, and those big, beautiful Pizza Barn food trucks are all over. Check out the Pizza Barn Facebook page to keep up with everything that's going on. And if you want to see the full menu, or if you want to book a food truck, it's really easy. Go to pizzabarnprinceton.com. It's all right there. Thanks again to our good friend Jody and everybody at the Pizza Barn.
Yes, thanks very much, Jody. We do appreciate it. By the way, if you like this show, please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen. We do appreciate it. We also want to thank Beta Bay Boat Club.
Beta Bay Boat Club offers a limited number of season-long memberships in our private club and half-day or full-day pontoon boat rentals on Lake Minnetonka. Members have the opportunity to play on luxurious pontoon boats, as well as a variety of well-appointed deck boats, speedboats, and offshore boats. Our daily pontoon boats are deluxe, custom-built boats with many amenities and comfortable seating for up to 14 people. Beta Bay Boat Club, Country Club Boating, 24 years in business, and voted Minnesota's best 3 years in a row. Please visit us at betabayboatclub.com for more information. We look forward to welcoming you this summer.
And also just a personal thank you to Twill and the Dining Galleria, Scott Dayton's shop, for taking such good care of me. Not that I ever ask for anything free. I always pay for what I want, but I go there because the quality is so high. The service is so good. So check out Twill as well as our other sponsors. We do appreciate it. All right, let's talk about Randy Shaver.
Yeah, Jim. I watched when Randy signed off on his final newscast. It was really well done. I know. I think Neil Justin in the Star Tribune had mentioned in a story about Randy that Randy had written his farewell address basically, months ago. And it was so well done. How does that guy not get emotional? When everybody watching and everybody on that set is emotional. He thanked everybody. He talked about everybody except himself. He thanked everybody he'd worked with over the years. He thanked the viewers. He thanked his family. And, his family walked out on behind him as he was talking. His 2 kids, their wives, his 2 grandkids. It was really emotional, even though Randy, like I said, somehow kept his cool. And like me, Randy grew up in Iowa, and we were lucky to spend many years in Minnesota. Randy and I, we consider ourselves Minnesotans. We've been here a long time. So thanks to Randy. He deserves nothing but health and happiness in retirement. And we wish him all the best. Yeah,
and stay tuned for possible announcements involving Randy. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, I like that. That's a good tease.
Yes, that's best I can do at least. All right, let's talk about Hall of Famers.
Yeah, this is quite the summer for Hall of Famers. We got Joe Mauer, who last week was inducted into the National High School Hall of Fame in Boston. We talked about that a week ago. And before long, he'll be in the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And in hockey, this was big news. Our own Natalie Darwitz and Chrissy Wendell-Pohl will be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto in November. You know, we have a U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame at Eveleth, which is great, but this is the big time, the Hockey Hall of Fame in November. I've been there back when I covered hockey in Toronto. It's great. So congrats to all of our Minnesota Hall of Famers.
Yes, and by the way, because Natalie Darwitz had an unceremonious release from the PWHL team that she ended up leading to a championship and putting together on the fly. Yeah. I get a lot of emails saying, "Hey, why don't you tell us, what happened there?" Believe me, if we knew, we'd tell you. Unfortunately, the people who know what happened are not willing to tell us yet.
Yeah.
I imagine eventually we will figure it out, but we don't know. We do know that Natalie Darwitz is a Hall of Fame caliber everything.
Yes.
That much we know. I don't know what exactly went on behind the scenes over there, but I don't know. I still find it all be very bizarre.
Yeah, I put Joe Mauer, Natalie Darwitz, Chrissy Wendell. They're in the same category. Great athletes, unbelievable athletes, but just tremendous people, all of them. It's just so great to see these kind of things happen to great people.
No doubt about it. All right, let's wrap up this week's show with John's most valuable teammate.
Yeah, this is our final most valuable teammate of the 23-24 school year. We're proud to honor Gabby Blair, who just completed her junior year at Minneapolis Edison, where she takes part in softball and volleyball. Gabby's always positive. She plays hurt on occasion with no complaints, no excuses, always puts the team first. Not only is she a great teammate, but a talented athlete as well. Her coaches love working with her. Congrats to Gabby Blair of Minneapolis Edison, the final most valuable teammate of the 23-24 school year. We will resume this award when the 24-25 year begins in the fall. It's just so much fun to go through these kids as they're nominated. I think we ended up honoring nearly 40 kids this year, and it's just one of the best things about my job, Jim, is to be part of this process and honor these great young.
Yeah, two of the best parts of this show are your most valuable teammates and the fact that you so often thank refs, especially during the actual season. Obviously, not as much going on during the summer, but I think those are great things to do. And you highlight so many great people in so many different walks of life who not only play these sports, but also enable them to actually happen.
Yeah, when I was at the National Convention in Boston last week, I talked about doing a presentation on social media, and two of the points I made were most valuable teammates. I showed a bunch of these graphics with these kids, and then I had several photos with the thank a ref tag. I said, you can't thank officials too much.
No.
And I saw some eyes open in the room. I said, we've been doing this for years. This just started one day, thank a ref, hashtag. And I said, I take pictures of officials every chance I get. Other people at other games will do the same thing and tag me on the post. It's great. So yeah, I love doing those things. We have to pay it forward and thank people who go out of their way for us.
No doubt. Great stuff as always, John. Thank you. We'll talk to you next week.